Welcome to another episode of the Journeys of Not So Ordinary People podcast. How are you doing, Dr. Dave?
Dr. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Like I always say, best time of the week, we get together and talk about a lot of different things. So, how's your week been?
It's been great. I've counted all the toothpicks in my cupboard this week.
Well, that's progress. All right. So thank you all for tuning in, our audience out there. Thanks for enduring our episodes every week. Hopefully, you're gaining something from this. Like I said, me and Dave enjoy getting together and talking about things that might help you in your journey. So, with that, we're going to do the traditional I introduce the topic and hand it immediately off to Dave. So, what we're going to do today is kind of play on some words that most of you might have heard if you traveled with young kids, especially on those road trips across the country. Some of you are probably thinking that famous saying is, "Are we there yet?" I know having three kids and doing a lot of traveling in the car, we heard that at least more than once. So I would imagine most of you have heard the same thing. But we thought that was really appropriate as we think about again our journey, and we also relate it to a destination. And so, what we'd like to do with that is not ask, "Are we there yet?" but "Are you there yet?" So that's where we want to go with our topic
Hmm.
today. So, Dave, what are your thoughts on that? Are you there yet?
Dr. Joe, are we ever really there yet? You mentioned, are we there yet? Taking the family trips, and it's like, then you get there and you're still asked, are we there yet? It's like, well, I thought we
Right.
were, but maybe we're not. So part of me says we're not really ever there yet, but we do have milestones or inch stones or progress points, filling stations, breaks,
Yep.
lunches, if you will, that we have to stop and do or would like to do, and then maybe experience what's around us at that moment in time on that trip, east, west, north, south, whatever.
Right.
And so when we talk about are you there yet, it really makes me take pause, like we've always said so in so many episodes, to reflect on are you there yet? And I think a big part of that is determined by your perspective, an individual's perspective on what is there.
Right.
What is that destination? What does that destination there look like? Is it a city? Is it an attraction? Is it a restaurant? Is it a beach? Is it a forest? Is it a desert?
Right.
What is
Right.
that there, that destination? What is that goal or that milestone? And and I believe, we can reach some of those theirs, but I believe, like many journeys, there's always more theirs to be gotten to or to go to, and
Right.
those options are always present. We make an analogy of like going to an amusement park. You get to that one, but are you still there? What about the one that's across the street? What about the one that's, a half a day's drive or 2 hours away? What about that? What about that? So to me, there's always going to be a destination. It's
Right.
just
Right.
how many destinations have you reached? And it's not I've reached more destinations than you. It's what's your definition of a location, and what is your understanding of what that means to you as an individual. So that's very convoluted. I know there's a lot in there to unpack, but I think that's a very big and deep question that you come up with. Are we there yet? Yeah, we're always there, but are you there yet? That's a
Right.
lot different perspective.
Right.
That's very much tailored to the individual's perspective, because the family might want to go to an amusement park, but one of those individuals in the back seat might want to go to a hot dog stand or the beach.
Right.
So
Right. No,
I'll
you're right.
pause.
You're right. There's a lot to unpack there. So you're right. But I think it starts with a couple of things you said. It's that reflection piece. It's that definition piece. What
Mhm,
is your definition of destination?
mhm,
So me and you both have reached um, great milestones in our careers and our lives. To be to get to the level of doctor, for me to become a command chief in the Air Force. Those are huge milestones. So if you look in terms of are you there to that degree? Yeah. So I've reached the highest level of education. Can't go any higher.
mhm,
Um, The same with the military. Reached that highest level of, commitment, and so I couldn't go any higher there. But like Dave said, there are always still those other theirs, those other things that you defined as important to you, or that you'd like to achieve. So that's kind of where I am today, even though, like I said, I've achieved things in my life that, some people may never get to, but I still, now that I've achieved those things, I still have other things in my sights that I want to achieve. So like Dave said, I'm not there yet. I can still say I'm not there yet, and I'll liken it to, what we jokingly say. We've said on this show before. What do you want to do when you grow up? And that still kind of falls in that same line of thought that I'm not there yet, and I don't know what that looks like. I just know, even when I retire from, say, my full-time job, I know I'm still not going to be there yet, because I know there's still things I want to accomplish, things I want to do. So if we think in terms of you, the viewer, listener, in terms of, are you there yet? And so if we think about on the, professional side, you set a sight of becoming a manager, a line supervisor. Are you there yet? And if you're not there, how can you get there? And it goes back to that piece Dave said earlier. Part of it is that self-reflection, critical self-reflection. And then once you've done that and determined, I still want to get to this location, this place, then you got to think about writing those goals down, a plan to get there. So yeah, it could be that you're trying to achieve something. You may want to be the CEO of the company, or you may want to be, a director, whatever that is. Are you there yet? Have you still continued to pursue that? And much like, we talk about our journeys all the time, much like identifying that destination. Your destination may be manager. You're going to definitely run into roadblocks, detours. It's funny, I was talking to a friend I hadn't talked to in many years just the other day, and we are just talking about life. And that's what he said. When we joined the military, we got a, family, and we had this plan of what we were going to do. And then he said, life happens. And that's exactly what it is. So part of the, challenge is figuring out what those things are, how you can overcome those obstacles, go around, maybe you take a step back, but then again, go ahead and proceed forward when you can. So that's where we're kind of going with this. Are you there yet means, have you reached those goals that you set for yourself? Are you still trying to achieve those goals? Are you still pursuing? Are you still pushing? And so that's where we are with this particular topic. So what are your thoughts?
Joe, you've said a couple of good things that I've got. My brain is just spinning. I don't know if you can see the smoke coming out, but you smell something burning. That's me. So a couple of things I picked up on that I thought were kind of interesting, and that is the detour piece, being in the military. And it reminded me of the story that my dad told me many years ago, that, when he went into the military, he put in for all these cool, exotic places around the world, and then went Nebraska. He goes, I did put in for anything stateside. It was all global, Asia, Europe, whatever. And it was Nebraska. You can't get much more center of the United States. So when we talk about detours, there's things to be said about detours, because, happy circumstances, maybe you encounter someone or something that you didn't expect that's really cool or interesting. So there's a lot to be said about detours and unexpected happenings. Another one is, one of the things you mentioned is, about being, are you there yet, is just because you reach one roller coaster doesn't mean that you decide that, wow, I really like roller coasters, and you start pursuing other roller coasters rides that you can go on. So that can take you on another journey, so are you there yet? Well, you were there at the first roller coaster, but then you found something that intrigued you, that caused that interest to be sparked inside you as an individual to pursue other things related to that. And then the other piece I picked up on and was thinking about, what about the counter view? What about the people that are there? What's in it for them? So we can talk about the personal and the professional. Are you there yet? But what about people that say, yeah, I believe I am there. I'm good. What is that? I mean, maybe they are, or maybe they haven't figured it out, or I'm going to go back to what I just said. Maybe they are. There's nothing else that they need to figure out. They're just content. They're happy. They're doing whatever they love. And that's good too. That means
Right,
you are
right,
there. Some people
right.
are that dialed in. Me, I
Yeah,
don't think I'm ever going to be dialed in like
and that's
that.
where I was going to go. I was going to say, yeah, that's great if people, understand it. And we've said this before in different
Yeah,
on different topics. That if you're okay with where you are and you believe you've arrived, you've achieved, you've done the things you want to do, that is great. That is a great place to be. But like Dave just said, I don't know that right now. I can't see for the foreseeable future that
right,
I'll be at that point anytime
right.
soon anyway. Because even like I was, going down the path of, even if I retire from a full-time job, I'm still going to be doing something
Yeah,
in the form of hopefully impacting people,
right.
positively impacting people, helping people. So I see that as still I'm not there yet, because I
Hmm.
know there's still things I want to do along that arena. And like
Right.
I mentioned it earlier, me and Dave have reached, huge accomplishments and achievements. And even this podcast is part of that.
Yeah.
Are we there yet? Because this was like Dave said, we reached this level, authors and all these things we've done, but then we're like, you know what, there's still some other stuff we can do. Let's go down this path. and,
Hmm.
and so where's this podcast going to lead us? What are we going to spin off and do from this? And so that's the way I view it as. I don't want to get to whatever that final destination is and says, you know what, I wish I would have done that. I
Right.
wish I would have took the time to go venture down that path. And that's what, I view it as. I don't think I'll be there.
Hmm.
Hopefully I do get there one day, but as of right now, like Dave said, I don't see that happening to me anytime soon. But again, we said this all the time. If you've reached a point in your career, in your life, that you're happy with where you are, that is great. That is absolutely great. Not to discount that.
And
That's
maybe we have lessons to learn from those individuals as well.
absolutely
And that's the way I view it. I mean, just because I'm not there yet and someone else is, there's nothing to begrudge that person. It's
right.
I
Yep.
want to know that person. What did they do? What was their adventure? What was their
Right.
journey like? What can I learn from them? Maybe it'll help me, because that's just one of the perspectives that Joe and I have. We're not above or below anyone. It's just we're in a different place, and each
Right.
person has their own place. So, when we talk about are we there yet or are you there yet, it's really about understanding yourself. And it's not
Right.
understanding yourself by comparing yourself to others. It's really about that deep rooted knowledge about knowing yourself, who you are, what you want, what you don't want, what you like, where you want to be, where you don't want to be, and what are those things that you're doing to help get you there, to that whatever that there looks like.
Right. No, I think you bring up a very good point, and it's all you. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's not the comparing yourself to others and referencing, well, they did this and I didn't do it. So yeah, that if we continue down that path, then anything you do won't be for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you'll be under someone else's control, and that's definitely not what we want.
Yeah.
Throughout this journey, especially like I said, it started back in 2005. The one thing that I will just continue to, speak on is the fact that we are all capable of great things. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, again, I would have never imagined I'd be in the position I am today if I would still maintain that mindset that I had back then.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, like I say, my eyes are wide open to the possibilities. And that's what I would like everyone else to really understand, that you are capable of great things as well. We all are. It's just opening your mind to the possibilities.
Yeah.
If you see something, you don't understand it, be curious, try and figure
Yeah.
out what that is, versus you see it, you automatically label it and discount it. And then you basically close your mind to that possibility. So that's why, like me and Dave keep joking. We don't know what we're going to do when we grow up, because that's what it is. We're still looking at the possibility
We're
of
still
what if
learning.
or
We're
what
still
could be.
open. Yep.
Right. And so that's where we're trying to go with this whole topic is, are you there yet? Again, if you still have aspirations, you still have goals, and you don't want to have regrets that you didn't accomplish things, then that's the mindset I believe you should have, that I'm still not there. But
Mhm.
again, if you reach that goal, if you've achieved the things you wanted to, that's also acceptable. So
Yeah.
again, we don't want to discount anyone that's in that position where they feel good and comfortable where they are. That's great. That is
And
absolutely
and
great.
it's important to understand the dynamics of what you're aiming towards, what your goal is, or what that there looks like. Because we've all heard about money can't buy happiness, and I'm a firm
Right.
believer in
Yep.
that. I think it can
Yep.
make life a lot easier. But as one of my colleagues told me not too long ago, they said, Dave, having a lot of money isn't as all it's cracked up to be. It just means you have a different set of problems, different
Right.
types of problems than people who have less money. I'm talking like a lot of money. It's like
Right.
the elitist class or the people that make seven figures, which in probably 10 years is going to sound like $20. But it's like, what does that mean? It's like, well, that you have different sets of problems. And
Right.
because you weren't aware of what it entailed, what that there really meant. So I think it's important to understand what that destination looks like. It's like what we were told in school with our doctoral program. We're all like, oh yeah, we're getting our doctorate degree. We're finally at the end. And they're like,
Yep.
nay, 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 no, 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 no. That is not the end. That's just the
Right.
beginning of a
Yep.
whole new level of
Yep.
responsibility. And that's the same thing with a lot of other scenarios that are out there. That there could be just the beginning of a whole nother scenario. That
Right.
finding that one roller coaster could be that spark to wanting to find all the roller coasters or all the hiking trails or all the canyons or all the oceans. So what does that there really look like to you? And to your point, Joe, and it's an awesome point, it's malleable. It can change. That there can
Right.
change. You can say,
Yep.
hey, I want to be a this, and you start going down that path and you're like, wow, that's really not what I thought it was.
Right.
Then change your direction,
Yep.
turn the car around, go a different angle or whatever, turn down a different street and pursue something different. And if you are there, you've reached that there, don't stop.
Right. Yep.
Share your there with other people,
Right.
share with other people that there's something beyond just being there and being content. And I'm a firm believer in that, and you are too, Joe. We've talked about this, about sharing that knowledge,
Yep.
helping others. And it's like, if you've reached that level where you want to be, then start sharing. And for Joe and I, in some aspects, we have reached our there many times, but we're still giving back, we're trying to help others, and we're pursuing other theirs. That curiosity thing, it just,
Right.
it drives not only ingenuity and creativity, but it's exploration, really. I mean, there's
Right.
still
Yep.
so many things that have yet to be discovered and found and observed and nurtured and developed. And that's really kind of the realm where I live in, and Joe lives in, is what are the possibilities that are still out there
Yep.
that I can attain, and then turn that around and share that with other people.
Right. Well, it's funny you go back to the comment you made about once we earned our doctor, or as we're getting closer to that point, we're cheering, hey, we're almost there, we're about done, and we're
Mhm.
finished, and that's it. And I that hit me as well. So I graduated in 14 with my doctorate degree, and a couple of months later, I was at a graduation for a family member, and they were doing from associate's degree all the way up to doctorate. And so when they brought the two, there was only two or three individuals that were graduating with their doctorate degree, and they brought them on the stage. They did the hooding ceremony and talked about, okay, now you've earned your doctorate degree, here's your next level of responsibility.
Yeah.
And I sit back in that crowd and I cheered for them as, hey, they just earned their doctorate, because I had just been there. So I knew that feeling. But then I started to really listen to their next level of responsibility and what they were required to do. And I started to look around. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah,
I
what did I
didn't
just get
know.
myself into?
Right. I didn't
They
know
didn't tell
that.
me about this part.
Exactly. I thought I was there. And that's really what I
Yeah.
started thinking of. Oh my goodness. I arrived, I achieved this goal, but then there's another layer, another expectation for me. So I thought that was appropriate that you brought
Yeah.
that up, because again, that's a huge achievement, but then there's also that level of responsibility to get you there. And
Mhm.
to your point, that's what we've been doing since that, since we both graduated, is again trying to help others, trying to bring others along, because that is part of our responsibility, that we,
Mhm.
earn this level of education. Then that responsibility lies upon us to go out there and continue to educate other people and to help
Right.
other people. So, again, thinking I'm done, I'm over, and then realizing, oh no, that's just the beginning. And so I think that's
We
very
just closed
appropriate.
this huge book only to find
Right.
out that there's an even bigger book that we haven't even started
Exactly. That's
reading
just
yet.
the first chapter almost.
Yeah.
So it's just funny that, you bring that up. But that is the point, that and some people have achieved their doctorate, and that's
Mhm.
it. And again, another example is our, senior graduate, when we graduated, walked across the stage, was a 76-year-old gentleman that
Mhm.
retired from the military and then retired from another career of teaching. And so in his case, he may be at that point where he's like, I've done enough. And so he may say, I am there. I've accomplished this. So yeah, again, depending on where you are in life, it could be your, final destination, or the destination you choose to get off
Mhm.
of that ride, or to get out, out of the rat race, or whatever it is. So again, but
Or for some people, maybe that is the destination, the rat race. Some people thrive in those
right,
environments,
right,
you
yeah,
know? So again, it gets back to our individual perception of what that
yeah.
there looks like and how many theirs are there for
Right.
us.
And yeah, and which ones you choose to sign up for. I think again it goes back to that, defining your own level of success, what your
Yeah.
destination looks like, because for Dave has mentioned it too. Me and Dave keep seeing it as other opportunities, other theirs that are waiting for us to
Mhm.
get to, where other people may have, like we said, they may get to a certain level in their personal career or their professional career, and that's it for them.
Mhm.
They've arrived and they're comfortable with that. And we always talk about that. People have identified this is where they want to be, then that's acceptable. That is
Mhm.
totally acceptable. So this is really, for those people that are still looking at what's next for me. We just had an episode on talking about what's next, but it's
Yeah.
still that opportunity for you. And Dave said it too. The other part of this whole thing is continuing to learn, being a lifelong learner. And if you remain a lifelong learner, you're going to learn about other things that you may have sparked that interest, like Dave said, or things
Mhm.
that may entice you. And you say, hey, I'm going to try that out. I didn't think about that in the past, but now I've learned a little bit more about it.
Mhm.
I'm going to pursue something along that line. So
Yeah.
that's again why we get excited about the possibilities, because as we say, sometimes just that little bit of a nugget or spark, that you hear something or see something, you're like, you know what, let me dig into that a little further. And then you either find out, yeah, that's great, I'm gonna continue this, or you're like, you know what, okay, I've explored enough. That's it. I for this particular instant, I am there. I'm done
Mhm.
with this. I'll move to the next thing.
Yeah.
So, and it's not about, you know, just waiting to get to the next thing. It's still just that idea of, things are there, things are available. I can still pursue things, and
Mhm.
when they're aligned properly, I'm going to continue to go there if I can.
Yeah.
So
Um, it, I've been listening to what you've been saying, Joe, and it's kind of sparked a train of thought, and it goes something like this: that if you believe that you're someplace, but you're bored, or if you're not sure what there looks like and whatever you're currently doing, you are bored, I would assert that you're probably not there yet. There's
right,
something
yeah,
more to be done.
yeah,
You just haven't figured out what it is. And if you're like, well, I'm not satisfied where I'm at, or I'm still on this journey, but I don't know where it's going, but I'm bored with what I'm doing, that to me would be an indicator that maybe you need to
yeah,
try something different outside of what you have gotten used to doing. Stretch your comfort zone or do something completely different. And if you say, well, I am there because you and I have reached that, we've reached those destinations
right, yeah,
before, and you're thinking, wow, I'm really bored, this doesn't interest me anymore, then that means you're not on the right track. There's something else for you to do. There's something more for you to find. You just have to figure that what that is, and it could
right,
be helping someone, it could be learning something, it could be doing something, it could be anything, but to me, if you're bored or you're stagnant or you're not satisfied, There's something more out there. There's another destination that you are intended to be at. You just haven't figured out what it is, or you haven't gone down that road, or you haven't making that turn to get into the correct lane, if you will.
And that brings up a very good point, which again we touch on probably on just about every episode, and it still comes down to that critical self-reflection, that
Yeah.
always, looking at, even if you've got a plan, if it doesn't align anymore, then change it. But that again is up to you to do that really, that critical self-reflection and being honest with yourself. Just like you said, you may have reached this level that you thought, okay, this is going to be the greatest thing, but then you realize, no, this is not really it. It's okay to say, you know what, I'm going to move down this path instead, because that's what it's all about. It doesn't make sense for you to stay in on that journey if it's not giving you the things you want. And that was really, I thought about that early on, but it just slipped my mind. But the whole piece of, do you still have a desire to do something? Are you still feeling like this is not it? Then you're right, that is an indicator that I'm not where I should be, or
Yeah.
still room for me to go, grow,
Or
develop.
you're not done yet, whatever that
Right,
done is.
exactly. And so that is, you know it yourself. You can feel it in your gut. You can
Mhm.
feel like you said, you're stagnant. You're not really happy with where you are. That's acceptable, and it's expected for you to, maybe move. Maybe
Mhm.
it's that detour that you might need to take. You
Mhm.
took the left turn. Maybe this time you take the right turn. But that's still, again, a piece of that self reflection. Like I said, even if you got a goal, you got goals, you got plans in place,
Mhm.
it still, you know, requires you to revisit it, make
Yeah.
sure it's still applicable, make sure it still applies to, what you're trying to achieve. And if not, it's yours.
Yeah.
Adjust it, change it, because
Yeah.
it's not aligning with where you really would like to be. So I'm really glad you brought that up. I know like I said, I know we touch on, if you go back and do a word count on critical self reflection, it's
It's gonna
probably
be at the
in the
top.
hundreds or thousands, just because you really, to make a conscious effort or change of direction or path, you really have to know where you are, and then that helps you help define where you're trying to go. But
Yeah.
because if you just say, hey, I see this, it's shiny, let me run over there, more than likely you're going to be coming back and trying to figure out, okay, maybe that was just impulsive thing to do, so
Right.
maybe I need to take the time and really figure it out. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
So it looks like we have a few minutes left. I'm gonna toss in my final thoughts.
Okay.
So we always talk about the personal development, the professional development side. So let's just kind of put this together in perspective. And that's, that there can be that destination. Are we there yet, or are you there yet? More specifically, can refer to you as an individual. That can refer to you as your personal life, or the personal side of things, your family, your own personal development and growth, or it can be professional. That destination might be a career move, or a position, or a title, or a geographic location, or
Right.
whatever. So Joe and I are very deliberate about the topics that we pick to make sure that we can, and that you as the viewer or listener can associate this to either a professional or personal, or personal or professional, depending on your order of recognition, that applies to both areas, because the two are very closely intertwined, because
Right.
most people do work, whether it's volunteer, paid, whatever. So um, it's important to keep that in mind, that whatever we talk about will be applicable to the personal and or professionals, I should say, or personal and professional side of things, because they're two sides of the same coin. They really do go
Right.
hand in
Yep.
hand, and it's not, again, it's not about the money. It's more about what are you doing with you as an individual for your growth and development. So we talk about, are you there yet? You might be there, but there might
Right.
be other theirs out there for you to explore, or other things for you to do. There's still other things for you to be doing that need to get done for whatever reason. And that sounds a little out there, I guess, when you think about it. It's very, again, broad, but
Right.
again, that critical self-reflection piece will help you find it. And if you're not sure what to do, then just try something. Just talk to someone. You might get inspired. You might just a little conversation, a 30-second conversation can totally change the direction or perspective you may have about what your there looks like for you.
Well, thanks for that, Dave. Yeah, you hit on a lot of key points that we've discussed and talked a little bit about, but I really appreciate you bringing in the personal side of that, because a lot of times we think they are two separate things, but for the most part, they are closely intertwined and complement one of each other, and so it is very important to really understand that some of the decisions you make on your personal life are going to affect your professional life, and vice versa. If things you do in your professional life might affect your personal life. So it's just important to keep that in mind, that both of those are very important and are almost one and the same in most instances. And I think also bringing up that critical self-reflection, it remains important in your journey. Again, even if you set this journey or set on this course years ago, I'd be hard pressed to think that you have not checked it, or just checked in on it to make sure you're still on that same course. Think about it. Even if you're a ship captain and you set a course to a destination and just walk away, tie the ropes or to put it in autopilot or whatever that means on a ship, and you walk away, I would venture to say that, periodically you're going to go check it just to make sure
Yeah.
you're still on course. So that's very similar to that critical self-reflection, that because we always talk in terms of destination and journeys, the same rules apply. That, again, if you have, even on a cruise ship, you got ports that you go into, let people go out and buy things. The same thing with your journeys. You're checking your destination along the way. And Dave said it at the very beginning, breaks, gas breaks, getting food, those types of things. What types of, amusement is in the areas that you're going to. So that's all critical when you think about, are you there yet? There may be some strategic stops along the way, and there may be some unscheduled stops
Mhm.
that you have to take. So just really keep all that in mind when you think about, have I reached my final destination? And I gave the example of finishing my doctorate degree, but then realizing, hey, I've got a much larger responsibility on top of that. So sometimes we think we have arrived or we're there, but we realize it just has opened another door or another opportunity to get somewhere else. So
Mhm.
with that, hopefully we've left you with a lot of things that you can think about, and just kind of have some fun with that term, versus are we there yet with kids, but are you there? Are you there yet? Have you reached your destination? If not, why aren't you still pursuing it? If you've had some roadblocks placed in your way, some obstacles, detours, maybe it's time to get back out there and jump back into it, reevaluate that critical self-reflection piece, and figure out, can I still get there? Or should I continue or move on to a different destination? So like I said, we've covered a lot of different things, and I've probably extended this ending a little bit longer than normal. But again, this is a pretty cool or fun topic to think about. So with that, we just want to thank you all for tuning in, listening, watching, viewing. And again, if you're getting something out of this, please pass it on to others. Because like I said, me and David just enjoy getting on here and hopefully sharing some information, knowledge that can help you in your journey. So with that, as you think about whether you're there or not, then we want to encourage you to continue being your not so ordinary you.